Statement that the majority caucus has issued distancing themselves from what supposedly is a unified stand being proposed by the Speaker and for all of you as members of Parliament. Your initial reactions?
Well, I have seen many slippery statements issued by caucuses, at least under the 4th Republican Constitution and the parliaments that we have had. I have never seen such a slippery statement issued by this caucus. It is a statement that is pregnant with profound cowardice. That statement is not signed, so we do not know whether it is a proper statement coming from the majority caucus. And it's understandable why they refuse to sign the statement. They only provided numbers, and in this case, one number that is very clear is the number of Honorable Che Mensa Bonsu. What has suddenly changed? We have had members from the MPP who spoke in support of the position of the Speaker. Less than 24 hours. This is what is happening. My plea to the NPP caucus in Parliament is that they should understand that the framers of our Constitution and the principles of separation of powers is under attack by this very, very irresponsible act that they have engaged in. Read the content of it. It is convoluted. It is completely misleading. It is incomprehensible. And perhaps one thing that I can even identify in that rather reckless statement issued by the MPP caucus, denying a decision which was taken by the Speaker, that any attempt to attack the NDC in the matter of this will be resisted with all the blood we have in our veins. Let them get that very clear. And the IGP and the MPP, we are aware that the meetings they have had, and it is a rehearsal, arrest Sosu and go ahead to arrest other people within the NDC, including President Mahama. Anybody who tries that, the consequences will be uncontrollable.
Now, the police on Wednesday said they have secured criminal summons against Member of Parliament for Madina, Xavier Sosu. Director of Police Public Affairs, ACP Kwesi Fori, explains that the embattled MP has duly been served and is to appear in court on Monday, November 8.
The latest is that the police have obtained criminal summons and have been duly served for him to appear in court on the 8th of November.
What are the charges against him?
As we enumerated, obstructing public highway, causing damage, among other things.
In terms of your men who are supposed to appear before Parliament, I mean, what generally does the police think about that particular invitation? And secondly, there's a statement
the invitation has officially not come to the attention of the administration.
But the men
and when that comes, the administration may take a firm decision.
Parliament is raising issues about the arrest. I mean, this afternoon they issued a statement saying that.
Now let's go on forward and speak with a private legal practitioner, Vitus Gban, to get some more insights on this. Thanks for your time. First of all, break it down for us. What is meant by a criminal summons?
Right, Vitus Gban. All right, thank you. Good afternoon and good afternoon to your cherished listeners and viewers. Indeed, a criminal summons is basically an order, written order from a court of competent jurisdiction, basically directed at a particular person named in the summons, inviting the person to appear in court on a particular date and a particular time, and stating a particular offense for which the person is being charged. So that is what a criminal summons is.
Okay, and how is it served?
Which is basically an order by the court for the police to effect an arrest on a person named in the warrant.
Again, lawyer, how is it served, this summons?
Well, in terms of service of the criminal summons, the law requires that the process is served personally on the accused person. And in the current instance, we are talking about the Member of Parliament. That brings in some other dimensions on the issues of immunity of members of Parliament under Article 117 of the 1992 Constitution may be implicated. In respect of a Member of Parliament, such a process, and indeed a member of parliament cannot also be arrested whilst that member of parliament or clerk or speaker is on his way to or attending to parliament or returning from any proceedings of parliament. So it would seem that for the Honorable Francis Xavier Sosu to be served, the police would have to do the needful and ensure that they comply with the laid down procedures. But we must admit that there is some kind of lack of clarity on the ambit and scope, nature and scope of the Article 117 of the 1992 Constitution, which grants immunity to members of parliament, the clerk of parliament, and the speaker of parliament.
I was going to get to that bit in terms of immunity. How do you reconcile that bit in terms of, summoning him to come and this so-called immunity under Articles 117 and 118 of the 1992 Constitution?
Yeah, thank you. In terms of summoning him, the police and the courts that are responsible, for serving the criminal summons on the member of parliament would have to serve these processes personally on the member of parliament for Madina constituency. And it looks as if the member of parliament may be arguing that he is either attending parliament or returning from parliament, or he's attending some other parliamentary proceedings at the time that he would be met with the summons. The police or the courts may decide that they would serve him these processes maybe at home, when he's probably not at the time that he's not reasonably expected to be saying that he's going to parliament or returning from parliament. But I understand that the police administration are taking steps to have the set articles of the Constitution interpreted at the Supreme Court, so that the Supreme Court, through the exercise of its original jurisdiction in Article 130 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court would interpret the relevant provisions, Article 117, 118, and then some other standing orders of Parliament, which ought to be in compliance with the 1992 Constitution, which is the highest law of the land.
All right, finally, before I let you go, lawyer, now the charges brought against Madina MP for obstructing the highway and damaging public property, how do you categorize that sort of crime? So what is he going to be charged with, really?
Well, thank you again for your question. To the best of my knowledge, the police administration is saying that they have already charged the honorable member for Madina constituency with the offences already. So it's not about what he will be charged with, but he's already being charged. So basically, the offences that we are talking about are likely to the highest sentence. I mean, those offences may be categorized as misdemeanors. In the case of damage of public property, for instance, it will depend on the extent of the damage, but generally it will be considered as a misdemeanor. And the onus relies squarely on the prosecutors, the prosecution, to more or less raise to prove the guilt of the honorable member beyond reasonable doubt, which is the requisite standard of proof in criminal case. So the honorable member can decide that he's not even going to utter a word, he's not going to say anything, and the burden is on the prosecution, the republic, to establish the guilt of the member through, more than reasonable doubt.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Vitus Bang there is a private legal practitioner.